This is The Scoop for Tuesday.
I'm Sean Canan with the WMNF News headlines. The Florida Supreme Court refused to speed up a challenge yesterday to a congressional redistricting plan that Governor Ron DeSantis pushed through the legislature in 2022. That likely means that the disputed map will remain in effect for this year's elections. The court issued a one-sentence order that did not explain its reasons for denying a request from voting rights groups and other plaintiffs to shorten timeframes and hold arguments during the first week of April. But with a qualifying period scheduled April 22nd to April 26th for congressional candidates, lawyers for the plaintiffs acknowledged in a motion this month that the disputed map would likely remain in effect for this year's elections unless the Supreme Court expedited the case. A state Senate committee will consider a House proposal on Thursday that seeks to prevent children under the age of 16 from using social media. The Senate Fiscal Policy Committee will consider HB 1. That's a priority of House Speaker Paul Renner. If the bill clears, it could be ready to go to the full Senate. The bill would prevent minors under 16 from creating social media accounts and would require social media platforms to terminate existing accounts that are reasonably known by the platforms to be held by such minors. The House overwhelmingly passed the bill last month, and the Senate Judiciary Committee approved a Senate version last week. The Fiscal Policy Committee is scheduled to take up the House version. Renner and other supporters of the bill describe social media as harmful to children's mental health, but they've faced questions about the constitutionality of the proposal. The Florida House continued moving forward yesterday with a wide-ranging bill that includes the banning of sales of lab-grown meat in the state and preventing local governments from regulating electric vehicle charging stations. The Republican-controlled House Agriculture and Natural Resources Appropriations Subcommittee voted 9-3 to approve the bill, which deals with regulatory issues. Federal agencies have determined that lab-grown, also known as cultivated meat, is safe to eat. University of South Florida researchers, along with Tampa Bay Partnership, lifted the veil on a new report on how Tampa Bay stacks up to other key similar metropolitan areas. WMNF's Chris Young reports on the takeaways, including the area's rising affordability crisis.
Community leaders gathered at a luncheon at the University of South Florida's campus to hear the findings. The report compared Tampa with cities including Jacksonville, Atlanta, Austin, and Houston. Lucia Ferris is the Senior Director of Research Analytics and Public Policy for the Tampa Bay Partnership.
So we see a lot of draw to the Tampa Bay area, even compared to other Florida metros. That is wonderful, and it creates a lot of opportunity in terms of new business establishment and a lot of new fresh ideas coming into the area. But at the same time, it creates a lot of affordability concerns.
The report shows that the financial strain on the average Tampa Bay family has increased. Housing and transportation expenses account for nearly 57 cents of every dollar spent, compared to 54 cents last year.
What really surprised me that we are consistently getting worse in terms of income inequality, and definitely that calls for many policy interventions.
Dr. Shivindu is an associate professor at USF's Muma College of Business. He hopes the community leaders that attended the event will be inspired to enact change.
So we have to balance that we increase our talent pipeline, we bring good high-paying jobs, but balance that with avenues for more housing to open up, providing support to relatively poorer populations.
The report notes that the area has topped its competitors in closing the poverty wage gap. You can find the link to the full report on WMNF.org. For WMNF News, I'm Chris Young in Tampa.
The state's Citizen Property Insurance Corporation ended last week with more than 1.1 million policies. Today it'll be cloudy and breezy with highs in the high 60s. It'll be partly cloudy and cool tonight with overnight lows in the high 40s. Tomorrow, sunny and warm, highs in the low 70s. I'm Sean Canan with the WMNF News headlines.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.